Good morning from a sunny UK in mid-July. Decided to make this video diary as, like many of us old guys have these old British bikes. One of the main problems we have is not being able to get out on them as often as we'd like to, partly due to age and partly due to the English weather, etc. So one of the main issues I had was batteries not lasting as long as they could do. So I thought about, what about going the lithium route? Now, unbeknown to me, it's fraught with all sorts of problems, especially with these old bikes that use pretty unmodern charging systems. But finding out what I did and doing a lot of research, a lot of help from various people, I thought I'd record my findings. It would be mostly narrated with me reading from a script sheet, to be honest with you, because I can't remember half of what I've done, so you won't have to look at my ugly mug, which is another bonus. So without further ado, I'll get on with it and go through my findings with you. Okay, as mentioned, many of us with old British machines, when we drag them out once a year and find out our batteries are flat and then charge them and then get to the pub and they're flat again, can be a right pain in the arse. Also, when you speak to people, all you hear is negative comments about using this new technology. Although if you think about it, if you've got a battery that can sit in your machine, providing you can disconnect it to stop any parasitic battery drain, for a year at least without charging, it's ideal for us old guys when we drag the brick machines out of the weather as the weather improves. A lithium battery certainly doesn't sulfate over time, and it offers a significant weight saving advantage, especially as a much smaller physical size than similar power lead acid batteries, and certainly more available amps. It all sounds too good. Well, there's more to that. If you're fortunate enough to have an electric start, you have a much higher start capacity. But alas, mine is a kickstart, so I don't. So I'm back to kicking it to start it. Well, I finally decided to bite the bullet and fit one to my old Manx Norton with a 930cc Neil Beadling engine, 1972 Triumph T150. I know a lot of people out there call it a Triton, but to me it's still a Norton. Rather like the now defunct Norton SG race bikes, factory bikes with Aprilia engines. It's still a Norton, and I'm certainly not naming my bike after an electric shower, although the showers are very good. And also no offence to Dave Deegan of Dresda fame, who helped me build the bike and basically invented the Triton mark. I've researched this subject intensively over the last 4 months with help from many of my local club members, plus far too many technical chaps who I shouldn't have kept bothering, who have a lot more knowledge in this field than I have. So I've decided finally to go the lithium route with the following changes. Although my REG rectifier is a modern Podtronics 3-phase unit, I'm replacing it with a purpose-made lithium MOSFET unit from Moto-Electrical. These guys really seem to know their stuff where life PO4 batteries are concerned. That's lithium 04 batteries, I believe it's, excuse the pronunciation. The secret with lithium batteries is that every battery the batteries that are in this particular bike, there's 4 cells. They have to be charged very evenly. So a circuit within the battery charges the weakest pack first and brings that up to the next minimal level of charge. And as soon as it reaches the voltage of the next cell, it continues to charge the rest evenly, and so on. However, peak voltage is critical with these lithium PO4 batteries. And if you even slightly overcharge them, they can literally destroy themselves. The only disadvantage of this regular rectifier that I fitted from Moto-Electrical is cost. Plus the unit is almost twice the size of the standard Podtronics 3-phase one I've previously had fitted for the lead acid. So finding somewhere to hide it on this old bike with airflow has been quite a challenge. I settled mounting it behind the mudguard on the rear wheel. Doesn't really get wet, the bike, however it's supposed to be reasonably well sealed, but it should still get a lot of airflow. The regulator is incredibly accurate and will max out at 14.1 volts plus or minus 1.01 volt, and switches off charging power immediately, but it can only be used on lithium batteries and not lead acid, so there's no mix and matching. The new Lucas RM24 three-phase charging system in my T150 can only manage 180 watts at full tilt, up to 7,000 RPM, it's stated, although mine is rev limited to 9,500 via my tri-spark ignition system, as the engine is anything but standard. So it will have to work to run my 3 amp maximum ignition drain, which is 3 times 12 volt coils. I've swapped the original 5 amp lighting to LED, which knocks the power down usage from 100 watts down to about 28 watts, which includes the 3 instrument bulbs. The majority of my riding gets nowhere near max revs unless I'm showing off or at a circuit day, so I'm hoping that will not encounter any power problems at lower revs, but time will tell. Lastly, I fitted a Shido battery. Bit of a disaster because I really wanted the Shido Connect battery, which enables the battery to be monitored on a Bluetooth phone. However, there were none available, and the excuse was used that it's partly due to this COVID-19 we're in at the moment. So I've settled now for the Shido LTZ8V, which is basically an 8 amp hour battery, which should more than be okay for my general riding, which is I'm guessing somewhere around 2 to 2.5 amps. Very rarely ride it at night, so if necessary I'm pretty well covered, I believe, on amperage now. The advantage of this battery also is that my UAs to the old lead acid, this battery, believe it or not, has twice the amps, but it is physically smaller. It's also, as I've mentioned before, got huge cold cranking amps, so if you've got a starter motor you're laughing, which I haven't. The tiny amount of power loss if the bike is left idle over a period of time is a clincher. Plus it will charge to full in a fraction of the time it takes a lead acid battery. It also has a much greater lifespan, possibly twice as long in ideal conditions, if not longer, not to mention being £5 lighter. I can leave the battery unmaintained for most of the year and will never have to worry about the state of charge. It's even been reported after 2 years of inactivity, Shido batteries will start the bike. It is, however, advised never to let your battery drop below a given minimum voltage, and to aid this there is a battery condition meter on each battery. The only disadvantage to this has been the drain on my finances. My wallet is £350 lighter, what with the regulator, the battery and a new mains charger. The normal Optimate lead acid charger, which I had for my lead acid batteries, won't work, so I've had to completely replace this with an Optimate TM472, which is a specific lithium battery charger, or LiFo4, whatever these things are called. So on that note, I know it's a bit of a long one, but I hope my research is of use to somebody else with an old Brit or Japanese bike who wants to move forward with this technology. I see our American cousins seem to embrace this technology more than we old Brits do, although reading horror stories when bikers do not upgrade the regulators etc. are quite common, with bikes catching fire that are using the old lithium batteries. The good thing is that the LiFo4 is much likely to result in flames, just lots of black acrid smoke when they fail. So here we are, a fairly newly independent country in the world, and maybe it's time to step up and really improve our old Brit machines. Thanks ever so much for listening. Any questions feel free to ask and I shall answer them as soon as I get to them. And I hope I haven't bored you too much with this. Thanks very much for watching. If you like it, give me the thumbs up. If you don't, give me the thumbs down and I'll probably sulk and won't do another one. Anyway, bye bye.